You know, niggas gotta get their priorities together. Got their mind on the wrong things, spending their money in the wrong way.
Trapaholics, real trap shit.
Say you need that car with the rims and a charm, just like Jim. It's more than life. Yeah.
I'm telling you. Talk to him.
Say you need that LV bag with the belt and the hat.
That's all you got though.
It's more than life. Yeah.
Talk to him. Real.
Say you wanna turn up at the club, like some bottles, impress them girls. It's more than life.
Fucking everybody.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Saints and Appetizers podcast. And who dat? And I hope we're on to November now. I hope everyone had a happy Halloween. So happy Halloween! I know I had a good one. It's November. It's Saints football, Saints hoodie football season again, and I wish it was just on better terms. And it seems like New Orleans sports teams can't seem to find a W anywhere now because it seems the Pelicans are basically just the Saints, the NBA version of the Saints with all their injuries. You know, the Herb Jones, uh, DeAndre Murray, C.J. McCollum, Daniel Theis. I'm just waiting for this next game that they have. What do they play? The Pacers. I think you'll probably Zion or Brandon Ingram will probably go down as well. But this is main course that we're talking about here, not some appetizers. So let's get into some main course and talking about the Saints versus the Carolina Panthers, and that is on Sunday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And let's get into this injury report because after them kind of getting a little bit healthy last week, you thought maybe they'd be able to possibly pull out a win in Los Angeles against the Chargers, but that seemed kind of to me like their last gasp. But now the injuries are all back and can't even hope to just be able to enjoy the game for it to be kind of interesting to see some of your young players do good or make some plays because I mean they're all injured now. So let's get into this. So can I get a menu? And so the first person on the Saints injury report is cornerback Marshawn Lattimore. So I'm guessing he does his either his hamstring is an actual injury now, or he's just calling it quits for the season because he's pulled up lame like 3 or 4 times this season with a hamstring, and then basically played the next game or only missed one game. But he's actually out for this one. So this may be the last time you see Marshawn Lattimore this season, and maybe not this season, but maybe at all as a Saint. So Marshawn Lattimore hamstring didn't practice all week and is out. And then you have safety Tyrann Mathieu, who's just dealing with a little bit of an illness. He's had some ticky-tack injuries here and there all season, but nothing that's really kept him out an entire game. To miss a full game, he's missed a lot of second halves of games, but he didn't practice Wednesday and was full Thursday and Friday and has no game status. And then we were just talking about young players. You know, it's just interesting to see if any of these young players are good or just something to watch and maybe look forward to. But there's not even that now in this game. We have a wide receiver Bud Memes, ankle injury, didn't practice all week and is out. And then you have running back Kendra Miller, who already went over and talked about how I feel like anytime I pick my player of the game or MVP of the game, they just end up getting hurt or just having the worst game ever. And I don't know if that's we already said, I don't know if that's an indictment on me or just, I think it's a little more just on Kendra Miller. Cause I mean, he's really never been healthy. He's only been healthy for like 5, 6 games his entire 2 seasons as a Saint. So Kendra Miller back on the injury report with a hamstring, but it's the opposite leg that's kept him out all season. So I guess that's good. I don't really think it is. I just think he's made of glass. He's made of grease, basically, and he didn't practice all week and is out. And then you have here's another just young, interesting player. You have cornerback Rico Payton back, didn't practice all week, and is questionable. So I don't know if I expect to see him or not. I think you really are going to need that with no Marshawn Lattimore and no Kool-Aid McKinstry. We'll get down to him here in a minute. So there's just more, just all your young players, just making these games even interesting. They're just not hard. I don't blame anyone for feeling like this. These games are just not even worth watching. That's definitely how it feels with the Pelicans because I mean they're missing 3 of their 5 starters and they're missing some rotational pieces like Trey Murphy too. Like pretty much the only player on Pelicans that can hit a 3-pointer. So their games just aren't even watchable at all because you just know they're going to lose. It's a little different in football because it's not just scoring and constant up and down and having to score. A defense can play good one day or offense can play good one day and keep you in games with pretty much all your starters hurt for an NBA team. It's like there's no chance really, even though before they all got hurt, they were playing some teams that were basically all just G League and like preseason teams and still getting blown out. All right, so back to Saints football. I know I'm on a bit of a New Orleans Pelicans heater to start this podcast. Just upsetting. I was looking to try to get some W's somewhere, but can't get them anywhere with New Orleans pro sports teams right now. All right, so then you have a wide receiver Cedric Wilson Jr. hip. Didn't practice Wednesday, but was limited Thursday and limited Friday and listed as questionable. And then we have a quarterback Derek Carr oblique who's missed the past 3 games with an oblique injury, was limited all week, but it has no game status, and he's expected to start. Uh, it's hard to know if you should cheer for the Saints or cheer for Derek Carr to do good, or is he just going to end up? I don't know with the injury apocalypse and the injury bug ramping back up. I don't know if Derek Carr can mess up their first round pick, top 5 pick or not. Let's hope not. You don't really want to root against the Saints if you're a fan of them, but it's kind of hard not to now that you got Derek Carr coming back that gives the Saints offense a semblance of legitimacy. But I guess we'll have to see. But with even Saints don't even have any of their young players now, which could at least make this game interesting. And then you have tight end Juwan Johnson's shoulder was limited Wednesday and then was full Thursday and Friday and has no game status, which I don't know if that really matters at all. It's not like Derek Carr. It seemed like Jake Hayner and Spencer Rattler targeted their tight ends more than Derek Carr has since he's been a Saint. And then you have a running back Alvin Kamara, this is just copy and paste for him all year. Hand and ribs limited all week, but has no game status, so he's going to play. And then I was talking earlier about like young players and talking about cornerback Rico Payton, like what this is going to be like. It's going to look like the 2014, 2016 New Orleans Saints with their cornerback issues, and their DB room is just full of ghosts right now. And Halloween's over. This nightmare. Halloween's over, but this nightmare and horror movie continues to roll on. So you have Kool-Aid McKinstry, one of the few young and interesting players to watch on Sunday, but now he's hurt, and so Kool-Aid McKinstry hamstring. He was limited Wednesday, but I guess maybe he hurt himself in practice, or it flared up on Thursday and didn't practice Thursday, didn't practice Friday, and is out. So that's just really annoying, honestly. You just can't find any positive or any light in the rain with this team right now, except possibly a top five draft pick. Which talking about people that are in full tank mode, I don't think you have to. You don't have to tank with the way this team is playing and just how and who's playing for them. All right. So now guard Nick Salvadori, shoulder was limited all week and is listed as questionable. And then here, it's it's not funny. It's like all the injuries and stuff are not funny. It's like comically bad. But this is kind of a bit of a funny injury to me to some extent. You have running back Jamal Williams groin was limited all week and is doubtful. I mean, how did Jamal Williams even get hurt? He doesn't do anything. So that's what I get a little of a belly laugh from. Christmas is coming up, so Jamal Williams, not that matters at all. That he's gonna probably miss this game. And then you have guard Shane Luminar. Knee was full all week and is listed as questionable. Not sure if he's been activated yet off of injured reserve. And he seemed pretty good at center, better than Connor McGovern in the one game that he played in. So be interesting to see if he ends up getting the start over him if they activate him off of IR. And then you have linebacker Nephi Sewell. Knee was full all week and is listed as questionable, and he's the same thing. He has a designation for return, so we'll have to see if they actually activate him or not. But he is practicing and is healthy now. I get a little bit of juice from some young players that have missed the majority of the season. Then you have defensive tackle John Ridgway, oblique, I guess, dealing with the same injury that Derek Carr was dealing with, but he was not on the injury report on Wednesday, and then I guess hurt himself at oblique, tightened up on Thursday, and then is limited on Friday, and then is listed as questionable. I would wonder like how many some of these injuries, and now that it's starting to be like the younger players, I wonder like if this is just something Dennis Allen is just trying to do to where when it comes Black Monday, he can kind of point at these lists for each injury report each week and say, this is the why I should still be the head coach. This is just something you couldn't overcome. That's kind of what it feels like a little bit. But hey, protecting if it is just protecting your young players and trying to protect your job, I'm fine with protecting your young players and trying to secure a top five draft pick and just protect these young players going into next season because there's no point in playing in any of these meaningless games, even ones against the Carolina Panthers that should be winnable, should be attainable. But we also thought that about the Chargers game last week against the Chargers. That seemed like a game that could maybe get them back on track and was possibly attainable. And it looked like the Saints were getting healthy, but it doesn't even matter. All right, now on to the Carolina Panthers injury report. We have outside linebacker edge rusher. Should have at some point in his career been a Saints legend, but Saints were never able to sign him in multiple off seasons, sign him or trade for him. We have Jadeveon Clowney, not injury related, didn't practice Wednesday, was full on Thursday, and then had no designation for Friday and has no game status. And then you have tackle Akeem Akwanu, ankle, didn't practice all week and is out. And I think that is one of the Panthers starting tackles. So there's one of their starters. Any help you can anywhere you can get help, you take it, I guess. And then you have tight end Felipe Franks, concussion, didn't practice all week and is out. I think this is just kind of similar to week one when the Saints played the Carolina Panthers, where majority of their a number of their tight ends were beat up or didn't like two of three or two of their starters or main tight ends didn't play. So that's Felipe Franks. Then you have linebacker Josie Jules, injury not non-injury related rest. Didn't practice Wednesday, was full Thursday, and didn't practice, and then no game designation for Friday, or practice designation for Friday, and then has no game status. Then you have outside linebacker DJ Johnson, ankle, didn't practice Wednesday, was limited Thursday and Friday, and then is listed game status is questionable. Then you have defensive end Ashawn Robinson, not injury related rest, didn't practice Wednesday, and then was full Thursday, and then had no practice designation on Friday, and has no game status, so he should play. And then safety Jamie Robinson, knee, didn't practice all week and is out. Tight end, so here's their other tight end, a notable tight end for the Panthers that's a little beat up, but he might end up playing actually. So it won't be like game. I guess it won't necessarily be like game one of the season where they were like missing two of their starters. It may just be Felipe Franks that they're going to be without. But tight end Tommy Tremble back, didn't practice Wednesday, was limited Thursday, and then he was back full on Friday, but still is listed as questionable. And then this seems like a game where you'd hope you wish Marshawn Lattimore was healthy for, because wide receiver Adam Thielen hamstring was limited Wednesday, limited Thursday, and then didn't practice Friday and is listed as doubtful. I mean, at least as Marshawn Lattimore was going to play in this game, unless the Saints are just absolutely getting blown out by the Carolina Panthers, which I don't necessarily see what happened. At least he wouldn't have to be getting sunned by his father, Adam Thielen, I guess, the whole game. So he's limited, didn't practice Friday, and is doubtful. So I mean, you picked the wrong game to fake an injury, Marshawn Lattimore, or fake an injury in practice to go into the next game, I guess. And then you have a running back, Jonathan Brooks, knee, was full all week and then listed as questionable. And then you have defensive tackle Jaden Crumdy, ankle, was full all week but is listed as doubtful. That's kind of weird. I wonder if these are some players. I was thinking maybe him and maybe Adam Thielen. Maybe these are players that they're just kind of holding out to maybe try to trade at the November deadline, the trade deadline. Because that seems kind of weird. That even seems kind of weird with Adam Thielen, that he was limited all week and then didn't practice Friday. All right, and then this Ginger revenge game, the Red Rifle quarterback Andy Dalton, right thumb, was full all week after having his car wreck or little fender bender that he had with his family, but no one ended up going to the hospital or anything. But right thumb was full all week and has no game status, and I'm expecting him to start. And with revenge games and Saints history of revenge games, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a good game. Hopefully at least it's not as good as the game that he had against the Oakland Raiders and the Panthers' first win of the season, first and I guess their only win of the season. But I could definitely see that incoming. Let's just hope he doesn't have 400 yards passing and 4 touchdowns and no interceptions like he did against the Raiders. But with the Saints cornerback and defensive back issues they're having right now, I guess it's very possible. And then you have safety Jordan Fuller, hamstring. Another one. This seems kind of weird. This seems like players that they're probably trying to trade. He's dealing with a hamstring, was full all week, but is listed as doubtful. This seems like they're trying to hold some players out and see if they can get anything for them at the deadline. That's what that seems like, because they're like showing teams that they're healthy enough to practice, but they're just putting some asterisk as to why they can't play by their name. And then you have a tackle Yosh Nijman, knee, was full all week and has no game status. And then you have offense outside linebacker DJ Wanum, quadricep, was full all week and is listed as questionable. And you have tackle Taylor Moton, not injury related rest, and had no practice status for Wednesday, but then didn't practice Thursday, and then was full Friday and has no game status. And then you have a wide receiver Xavier Leggett, toe, no practice designation for Wednesday, but then was limited the rest of the week and is listed as questionable. So I mean, talent wise and injury uh, injury report comparison wise, they're pretty similar. Both teams are very beat up. I just have a slight uh, hunch that the Panthers are maybe holding out some of their tradable players until after the trade deadline, just in case they get some calls or something, uh, that they can maybe get some fifth, sixth, seventh round picks for some of these players that they're holding out. It seems like they're more holding out of this game uh, just because they're interested to see if they can get any draft compensation for them. All right. So now then, on to MVPs, hot takes, and predictions and scores for this game against the Carolina Panthers at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday coming up. So we have for MVP. So the Saints are dealing with running back issues. I think they left Jordan Mims, moved him from the active roster to uh, to the practice squad, and then they re-signed Jacob Kabodi, who looked actually pretty good in preseason, going against like third and fourth stringers. I think he had like 100-yard rushing game or something in one of those preseason games, and people were losing their mind when they cut him. But I just can't pick any true Saints player of importance after just pretty much the entire first portion of the season, and then taking a little bit of a break in there, picking like important players because it felt like I was just cursing them, and then try to go back to picking possibly notable players and important players. Pick Kendra Miller, and 3 carries later, he's back on the injury report with another hamstring injury. So I can't make myself pick any notable or important player on the Saints because I'm just afraid they're going to have a horrible game or get hurt. So I'm going with MVP for my pregame offensive MVP for this game. I'm going with Jacob Kabodi. So hopefully that doesn't mean, hopefully if he does end up having a breakout game, hopefully that doesn't mean it's because Alvin Kamara goes down with an injury or something. But yeah, it'd be nice to see like this 50 yards rushing and maybe like a touchdown or maybe just a couple goal line carries and get a touchdown from Jacob Kabodi. That'd be kind of nice. And then on to my hot takes, because the Saints are dealing with so many DB injuries and missing a good portion of their starting cornerbacks. If Rico Payton actually plays, I kind of made this hot take before realizing that he's been on the injury report all week. I guess he hurt himself on special teams play last week against the Chargers. But we got Rico Payton and Hugo Amadi. I think they're one of the two, or maybe even someone we're not thinking of may have a game kind of like Isaac Yatem. Ike Yatem had a couple real good games last year for the Saints when Marshawn Lattimore was out. Had some games where he had like quite a few tackles, and I think he had a game where he had like 5 pass deflections and another one where he had like an interception, a red zone interception. So look to see maybe some of these young defensive backs to maybe have a good game because we're starting to fall off of Dennis Allen even being a good defensive coordinator, but maybe he's just a good defensive back coach, and hopefully we get to see that from some of these young defensive backs, and hopefully Rico Payton plays, and maybe Hugo Amadi will have a breakout game or something. Just some pass deflections or a turnover by one of them would be kind of nice to see. And then picks and predictions. Before I saw that the Saints a atomic bomb went off in the Saints defensive back room. I wasn't 100% sure about wasn't 100% sure about Marshawn Lattimore, but the Kool-Aid McKinstry injury was a bit of a surprise to me. I think I was gonna maybe pick the Saints to win this game just because they're getting Derek Carr back, and he can maybe might be able to see a functioning offense with him as your quarterback. But now seeing as the Saints are down to what they're like third, fifth, and like sixth cornerback because uh you're missing Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, and now Kool-Aid McKinstry. So I'm flipping this now, and I'm actually picking the Panthers to win this, and hopefully Dennis Allen, I guess he's got a good excuse because of the injuries, but hopefully if they lose this, that'll be enough to finally can his ass. Would be kind of nice to see him get fired on Monday due to this, but it almost feels like he's almost holding out some of these young and have high prospects, these young players, to maybe keep his job or just be able to have some kind of resume to show at the end of the season of why they were so bad this year. That's what it almost feels like. But I'm picking the Panthers to win this, and getting Derek Carr back. I guess they'll they'll play better. The offense will be functionable, I guess. So they'll hopefully score more than 8 points, and as long as they don't allow 200 rushing yards, I think the defense will be respectable, even with the injuries at cornerback. But I still have the Panthers winning this 17-13, and we're some people are still holding out hope and don't go in the full tank mode until they're officially eliminated from the playoff. But I really don't see any light at the tunnel. So getting any of these useless and pointless wins that Derek Carr may end up grinding out, it'll probably just end up making me more mad than anything. But that's your injury reports, your MVPs, hot takes, and picks and predictions for the game. And hopefully it's just some. I mean, I'm not really rooting for the win because I think there's like pretty much point 0.1% chance of maybe making the playoffs at this point. But I want that top five pick. But anyways, I think that's all I have for you. So who dat? And can I get a check, please?